My name is Cyrus Laraspur. I was the first angel investor in OpenSea. I'm also the original registrant of a handful of CryptoPunks, so my interest in the NFT ecosystem is both professional and as an enthusiast. Today at this event, we're going to hear from a lot of different speakers about the different applications for NFTs. We've heard about some of them so far, things like in-game items, financial instruments, real estate property records, and so on. If you're sitting there in the audience doubtful that 100% of these applications make sense, but you don't want to say it out loud, that's okay. I'm here to sort of break the ice on playing the role of skeptic. I know we're kind of tight on time, so I'm going to lead with my conclusion. My belief is that the NFTs which create the most value will be the ones with the least baked-in utility. That's why the title for this talk is Collectible Maximalism. Okay, we're all here to discuss tokens, which means assets on a blockchain, not virtual items generally. I think it's relevant to go into the history of blockchains a bit. The blockchain was originally invented by Satoshi as a byproduct of his real goal, disrupting the global money system. He needed a database with a unique set of security guarantees, and that database didn't exist, so he invented it. Features like decentralization and censorship resistance are necessary for your database if you're trying to replace central banks. They're not necessary for creating any kind of virtual economy, which is why there are many virtual economies that predate Bitcoin. What I see happening right now in the NFT ecosystem is a reversal from Satoshi's order of operations. We're also excited about the technology that we're starting with that, and then we're shoehorning it into applications where there is an unclear benefit. The first criteria that I use to evaluate if blockchain is appropriate for an application is the degree to which that application has centralized third-party off-chain dependencies. And I made a comparison up here between concert tickets and money. So concert tickets, for example, have a huge off-chain dependency. Someone needs to physically let you into the concert. Owning a ticket doesn't guarantee anything because it can just be invalidated at the door. When that sort of centralization is inherent to a transaction, turning the asset like a ticket into an NFT feels like a bit of a farce. And that's not true for crypto money. One merchant not accepting it or even one government declaring it illegal doesn't invalidate all of its value. That's why Bitcoin keeps chugging along. Money is inherently a peer-to-peer product. At its core, money doesn't need much functionality to work either. You really only need to be able to send it to someone else. The second criteria that I use is value over time. Blockchains are the best technology we have today for performing record keeping of digital ownership over very long time periods. It's reasonable to expect that major blockchains will outlive major internet companies and even major governments. Concert tickets don't really have value over time though. Once the show's over, the value of the ticket becomes zero. That's not true of money. It's often intergenerational. When I see an asset that's worth something over very long time periods, I tend to think it's a better fit for a blockchain. The reason I'm so bullish on art and collectibles specifically is that they have a lot of the same characteristics as money. For example, money works as a psychosocial phenomenon. We all agree that it has value just because we all agree that it has value. It's kind of a shared fiction among everybody in this room. Have you ever wondered why do mainnet Bitcoin and testnet Bitcoin have different values even though the functionality of the two networks is identical? It's because mainnet Bitcoin has the social consensus that it's real. People treat it that way, so it becomes that way. Art and collectibles participate in that same social phenomenon, and I'll give you an example. There are visually identical copies of the Mona Lisa floating around. If you saw one side by side with the real thing, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But there's no one pushing and shoving like this to see a copy. That's because people don't care about seeing what the Mona Lisa looks like. They already know what it looks like. They don't even really care about seeing the original Mona Lisa. What they care about is seeing the one that everyone else thinks is the real one. If you could own the Mona Lisa, you'd want to own the one that everyone else agrees is the real one. It's the social consensus around authenticity that creates value, and blockchains are the best technology we have for forming digital consensus. And people have been doing this kind of thing for all of history, using ownership of rare objects to signal affinity, to be part of an in-group, to have status, or even to support a creator. I know those are all the reasons that I own CryptoPunks. The ownership of an object itself can be valuable, separate from its functionality or its aesthetic beauty. Humans as a species are going through this transition right now where everything from the physical world is becoming digital, and the urge to own scarce objects is not going to go away. Crypto collectibles are the best solution that we have today for that inherent human desire. Okay, so to wrap this all up, I want to add some nuance to my skepticism. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of successful applications for NFTs in areas like decentralized finance and in-game items. It's just that those areas are incrementally improved through the use of a blockchain, whereas digital collectibles are uniquely enabled by blockchains. That's what makes them special to me. If you want to argue online with me about any of this, Twitter is the right place to do it. And lastly, I want to thank the organizers and sponsors for putting this event together. I think this is a great venue, and I've been having a lot of great conversations with people already today. Thank you.